This podcast is brought to you by Elite Level Status Wines. My wine journey started with drinking cheap grocery store wines that were really acidic and gave me headaches. Then I switched to quote-unquote luxury, but overpriced, full-bodied wines that were really heavy and had a bad aftertaste. The inability to find the perfect wine led to the creation of Elite Level Status Wines. Elite Level Status Wines are approachable, medium-bodied wines with great flavor and minimal aftertaste. And with me being a health-conscious person, I wanted to create a wine that was lower in sugar and lower in calories than the full-bodied mass-produced wines that we always see. We currently have two wines. First is our Cabernet. It has notes of blackberry, cinnamon, plum, nutmeg, and French vanilla. Then we also have our rosé wine. Our rosé is going to be a flat, dry, pink rosé with subtle strawberry and raspberry flavors. Both wines are medium-bodied wines with less sugar and less calories, and they're both available on my website, elsfinewine.com. Check them out, and I hope you love it. Thanks for clicking the link and checking out the Elite Level Status podcast. Since you're here, I have a special offer just for you. It's 15% off either of my wines. So click the link below and check them out, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Elite Level Status podcast, we're back again. Today's guest is the definition of turning pain into power. She's a real example of how manifestation and positive thought actually works. She's the owner of Pets Are Kids Too, Mobile Grooming. Her name is Blu Fouch. She's back again. Blu,
Hey.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me again.
So
It's fun.
I want to talk to you today about your experiences in dating as you grow your empire. But first, before we start, give us your story about how you've gotten to where you're at today and what you had to overcome.
So I started my business. It'll be going into my 4th year in June. And at first I worked from my kitchen and I groomed in my kitchen for probably a year while I had my truck and my bus being built.
Right.
So they're like custom made, my trucks and stuff that go around the city. And I just kind of like worked on my skill and then growing business. Right. And as soon as my trucks were done, I went ahead and transferred over to doing mobile. And I will say, working from one spot and then traveling like in a city, especially like with the traffic that's here and learning time management. And then also getting the clientele that you know is going to, flip your business.
Right.
And so it's like profitable, right?
Right.
Because at first you're going to just do everybody's dog and you're just going to just whatever. And you're going to like lower your prices. And I will say like I wasn't that skilled for probably quite some time. I don't think I was that good of a groomer, but I love animals and it was like passion to want to be like a good groomer.
Right.
And there's so many factors into being a good groomer. And actually there is a lot of competition out here with the mobile grooming and it's just increased over the last several years. So I've had to like revamp how I get business and it's like less is more, right? So less in quantity, but quality is better. So like I have homes that have 3 or 4 dogs. So it will cost me less in a day to drive all around the city when I can just go to one place. And then the place that I'm grooming, they have dogs that are like at least $150 or more. So I'm there like for the whole day and I still make a really good amount of money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that stage was important though, because that's, even though you were learning and getting better, that's how you grew your clientele.
Yeah. And you always have to remember too, when you have your overhead, right? So you always have overhead. So you have to meet your overhead every single day before you make money.
Uh-huh.
And overhead for me is gas, insurance, keeping up with your tools. You're only as good as like the tools that you use, right? And then your character as a person will go into why people come back to you. I mean, I've had clients, regulars, the same dogs since the very beginning.
Right.
And then you also got to remember too, that people don't have to stay with you. They can go and try other things. And if people are in the industry of like hair, like hair or lash techs or whatever, that people have they have the right to go and try other people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've had clients that have left and gone to other, and I always tell like people, if you feel like there's someone else that will groom your dog better than me, or your experience is going to be more of what you want, or financially it's more affordable for you, then just go ahead. Like I'll always welcome you back if this is where you want to be.
Right.
So.
And you started out like first at working at a pet store, right? And then you transitioned from there to your house, and then you got your actual truck, and then that's where you're at now to really like trying to scale your business, correct?
Yeah, it was a process because when I wanted to learn how to groom, no one would teach me.
Yeah.
No one would teach me. And now that I am grooming, I understand why.
Yeah.
It's really a rigorous like schedule in the sense where like even when I'm working, I don't take phone calls. Like my voicemail says like I probably will never answer my phone because my hands are busy.
Right.
So leave me voicemail, send me a text message, like, and I'll get back to you. When you work for a corporation though,
Right.
and you work for like Petco or PetSmart, they're already set up for dogs to be put on your calendar and then you just, run them through. With mobile, you have to gauge your time well and also what side of town you're going to be on. And not every dog is a pleasure to groom. I love all animals,
Right.
but not every dog is going to be so great.
Right.
And then I ran into people also who are more looking for like their dogs to look perfect.
Mhm.
And I am not the groomer for that.
Yeah.
Perfection is not something I strive for. It's more about comfortableness and what I feel like is best for the pet. So I've also learned that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And you can't take it personally.
Yeah.
And I did for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, what? But yeah.
So now that you have you're finding your stride in your business now,
Mhm.
but you still want to have a dating life. You still have a personal life outside of business.
Mhm.
You've told me that dating as an entrepreneur can have a tax. It can take a toll on you. Can you
Yeah.
kind of explain what that means to you and like kind of share your experiences in the tax that running a business can take on your dating life?
So for me, last year I went completely dark with dating for an entire year. No dating, no intimacy, no nothing. I just straight focused on my business. And I got so much further in my business because I wasn't separating my time with another person.
Understood.
And I realized that the balance with having a relationship that you want to like give TLC to and then having your business that also needs that is a challenge.
Yeah.
Right. And I've dated a couple entrepreneurs and I do enjoy being around them in the sense where like they're always doing something. Like you don't clock in anywhere. You're clocked in. You're clocked in 24/7.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have two phones and I hate having two phones, but I have to because I have like my work phone and my personal phone.
Right.
But just because I don't work on Sundays, but I'm still working because calls come in and I'm not going to make the money if I'm not there to like get the call or answer the text message. So when you're dating someone that works a 9 to 5 or works for a corporation, they have like Fridays, Saturday, Sunday off or just the weekends off and their attention is on the weekend, right? That's not my life.
Yeah.
My life is always consumed with business.
Yeah.
And when you're dating someone that's not aware of how much time it really takes to put into business, and it could be 1:00 in the morning and I'm up doing text messages or emails, setting up how my week's going to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys get a little offended or they're like, you're not present. You're not present with me right now.
How does a woman like you get a man to understand your reality and understand that your life is work? How do you communicate that?
It is. I will let someone know where I'm available at, right? Emotionally and physically. And for romance, like I love, but I am building myself.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for is someone that wants to add to my life and not take away. And my time is super valuable.
Right.
So if I'm spending time with someone who realizes that, man, this girl's busy, she's busy, she's doing this, and she's spending 2 or 3 hours with me today, no phones, she gives me eye contact, like she has my undivided attention. I appreciate someone who realizes that because when I'm not available, they're like, oh, how was your day? And they ask me questions that they know that like I would love to vent and talk about.
Yeah.
And that is actually really hard to find because some guys, they act like they think it's cool that I own my own business, but really, truly, I think they're more intimidated by me
Yeah, for sure.
and my conversation about wanting more.
Right.
Like I have a really strong drive to want more than the average person.
Mhm.
And some men that I meet, I think are great, but they're complacent.
Very complacent.
Like they're so fine with just like going to work and coming home and having the weekends off and then like having the, what do you call it? Like your 401k And then you're just going to like buy a simple house and like, and that's great, but I am someone, for example, like this summer I rented a beach house in California and I'm going to be there for a whole month.
Yeah.
But I saved for that and I arranged my life for that. And I'm going to enjoy the fact that I work for myself and I can take a month off of work if I want to.
Yeah.
If I tell someone like, oh, I want to do this and they work a 9 to 5, even if they have like unlimited PTO, or if they're like someone who is like a supervisor or manager and they make good money and they can take like their time off and have PTO days, it's still a stretch for them to understand why I'd want to take that much time off. Or they're just so comfortable in their routine that something random and spontaneous is like, no, I can't. And then I'm like, no.
This is very interesting because from a male standpoint, I look for guys that I can do business with, build with, go and get money with. And there aren't a lot of men that I can find that are aspirational. So it's interesting for you to hear from a woman's perspective. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing. Like you are very aspirational yourself.
I am. Yeah.
And so when you're looking for a guy, you want him to kind of have that same aspirational mindset, correct?
I do. I want someone, I want when I tell someone like, hey, these are my thoughts for the year coming up and I want to do this, this, and this, and this. And I am someone, when I say these things, I will figure out a way to make it happen with or without you.
Yeah.
But I want you to join with me.
Yeah.
And then you come up with all these excuses on why that could probably never happen instead of the conversation of, well, how could we make this happen? Like, how would that work out?
Right.
That to me is attractive. It's like, okay, you're matching my energy. You want to be spontaneous with me. You want to like have adventures, because when you have adventures and you spend time, that's how you develop love, right? Memories. So I always take it when men, I don't say shoot me down, but kind of try to detour me. Like, that doesn't sound like a very good idea. And I'm just like, well, yeah, I guess for your life, it wouldn't be, know?
Is it more ideal for you to find a guy that's also an entrepreneur like yourself? Or is it just more about being aspirational?
It's not really about being an entrepreneur. I need someone that matches my energy and is like, my girl, she does this. And he's just like supportive of what he knows makes me the best version of myself. Mm-hmm. And likewise, right? I don't really want to date someone who thinks that my business is not that big of a deal.
Right.
And I found that a lot, to be honest. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's dog grooming. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not to you. It's a big deal because it seems so simple. Like, oh, you play with dogs all day. But the form on how this business runs should be fascinating to you and should be respected by you because I'm doing it on my own.
Do you consider that a deal breaker if the man you're dating doesn't see your business as a big deal?
Yes. Yes, because then you don't see me as a big deal. And I will say this, women, we want our man to be, I would say obsessed, but like, just like, my girl is amazing. Like, she's just like super dope. And we want to be inspiring to our man. Like, I want my man to be like, she inspires me.
Right.
And that to me is attractive. If I know that my lifestyle and my drive inspires my partner, that is like the sexiest thing.
Right.
As opposed to like someone who acts like they're supportive, but really behind closed doors, they're either jealous or intimidated, or they're like comparing it to someone else's business and being like, oh, well, I wish she was more like, an OnlyFans model, which I still consider that entrepreneurship in its own form, which I have mad respect for, but it's, and also too, like the fantasy of like having a good looking chick that has her business is a thing, is a thing I'm noticing, but can you handle it? And not like on the outside, I'm talking about she's not for the weak hearted, she's a boss girl and she will treat you like that as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So as a self-sufficient woman, do you want your man to take the initiative and take the lead in the relationship?
Yeah. Well, I always get this like banter with men about submissiveness, right?
Right.
And being submissive is, there's a hierarchy, right? With like a man and a woman, and being submissive to a man, I think does create the flow of, masculine and feminine.
Yes.
And I do believe that's how you have like a healthy connection. Yeah. And when the balance is off, then, one person is going to feel like you run stuff. And I think if the woman becomes more masculine, the men seems less attractive because they're leading instead of following.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So now here's the next question. Okay. So are you able to be submissive in a relationship to a man that is less accomplished than you, makes less money than you, doesn't have the same drive as you?
Oh, yeah. I think, okay, the money thing's a separate thing.
Okay.
I've met men who do make significantly less than me, but their drive is top notch. Like they're the best at what they're at. And for whatever reason, they haven't been able to elevate themselves. It could be anything really. It could be like, their health. They had to help their family with something and it just hasn't leveled out for them yet to where their drive has gotten them somewhere. But I know that drive will get you somewhere because there's no way that it won't. That's not how manifestation works. That's not how the universe works. But if you're complacent, no.
Okay, so this is a major point that I want the men watching this to understand. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, if a man is making less than you, that's fine as long as he has the work ethic and the aspiration for more.
Oh yeah, that's the sexy part. It's like if my man wakes up at 4 a.m., hits the gym, and does all the things for his mental health so that he's the best version of himself, not only for him and what he's striving to be, but also in the way that he is to me and to his family, that is like chef's kiss.
And I love that because to the men watching, being aspirational, that takes no money. That's something that everybody can do. You can make the extra effort. And the thing is, a lot of people don't even try. If you just make an effort, you're ahead of most people. So I think that's a very important point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Blu, what kind of partner does a woman that's building an empire really need? Explain to me your ideal partner.
My ideal partner is someone that I can come home to at night and I can express all of my concerns. And the man has not only a listening ear, but solutions. If I'm coming to my man to like express how my day is, I want a man that's like throwing solutions at me or understanding that maybe I just need to like get stuff out and is comforting me in the sense where like, well, don't worry, it'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like an uplifting person.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't say comfort, but it's like knowing that you have somebody stable behind you, that if all else fell through that day, my man is there to lift me up.
Yeah, he's that rock.
And he's my rock, right? Or he's like, babe, today was not a great day for you, but tomorrow's going to be even better.
Right.
And the way I'm going to help you be better, like, let's write down some more goals. Like, let's watch your favorite TV show. Let me rub your feet, like things where I feel like you take care of me, not just physically, but mentally, like you take care of my mind.
Yeah.
And that is like the freedom that I feel like couples are looking for is like, do you feel free in the mind when you're with this person or do you feel clouded and anxious?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So you are open to solutions. It's not just, hey, I need to talk right now. I need to get this off my chest. You do invite your man to be a problem solver and offer solutions. And if he can, take the initiative and make your problems go away when he can.
Yeah. Or just, assist in making the problem less of a problem.
Yeah.
I told you earlier about emotional intelligence. That is the sexiest thing a man can bring to the table, and knowing your woman, right? Knowing like, yeah, she works really hard throughout the day. Like she's here, she's there, and like having the home in a space where it is healthy to be in, like, oh, if you get home before me and I had a crazy day and there's dishes in the sink and I hate that, then just clean the dishes, clean the dishes or like make life easier because we're both like working hard to bring, put food on the table and build like this life together.
Yeah.
And if I'm only at like 50% and I'm like, okay, what are you at? And you're at like 70%, then I know I can lean on you to go ahead and like bring the other percent that I'm not so that we're at the same level.
Right.
And that's a challenge to do. That's like that's like the hard thing to do.
Understood. Have you ever felt like you had to shrink yourself in order to make a relationship work?
Oh yeah. Many times.
Can you give an example? Whatever you're comfortable sharing. But.
I felt like at one point with someone I was dating that I was too big of a personality. Like I wanted too much and it seemed so far-fetched for this person. Like, can't can't you just be happy just sitting at home and watching TV and like this be our life? And it's like, yeah, some days, right? But I want to go socialize. I want to go out. I want to network. I want more for myself. I want to travel to like Egypt, and I want to meet people that live there. Like I have minimized the things that I find to be adventurous and that make me who I am for someone that I felt like gave me all the things that I wanted, but didn't fill up my cup. And I always say the example of like, sometimes you'll start dating someone and you won't realize that they've put micro needles in your cup, right? So there's tiny, tiny holes in your cup that they gave you. So every time they fill up your cup, you'll look at it and you'll be like, but it's still empty. It still looks empty.
Okay, that's deep right there. Let's touch on this for a second. So as a woman, you want your man to fill up your cup.
Yeah.
But sometimes men can punch little holes in your cup.
Yeah, like little things they might say to you that mess with your mental health, like little put downs. And you should never make someone feel like they are too much, right? In the sense where like, I don't say like too much, but like make someone feel like their dreams and goals and who they are is dumb. That's just not okay, right? Because you're not them and they're not you. And if they're constantly filling your cup, and the way that I fill up someone's cup is by meeting them more than halfway.
Yeah.
Like I'm there to listen to you, give you eye contact, and be your like biggest fan.
Right.
And you know that I'm always going to be solid. Like I'm going to be the same person that you woke up next to that you're going to go to sleep to.
Right.
I'm the same person for you in all areas. And with women, I feel like men want so much from us to be like, I don't say like mommy vibes, but like I do feel like there's like some kind of comfort there that men want.
Yeah.
And they will take so much from us because we are caretakers that they don't give back in the same way. And maybe they don't know how to, but it's like spending time is a big thing, like love languages and stuff. And I personally need a few love languages to feel like you like me or love me and care for me. And like there are moments where I've dated guys where even the idea of like holding me at night is too much.
Which is wild. Which is wild.
They're like, oh, really? And you're like, okay, why wouldn't you want to? But then that goes back to, what did you go through in your past for you to not be able to physically connect with me?
Right.
And that's something too, is you can like someone all day long, but if you're not connecting, and there's ways we connect with people, right? Intimacy, touching, kissing, doing things that I've always been told too, that men fall in love with women for what they do for you, the things that they do for you.
I agree with that.
And women fall in love with men, for the ways that we see our lives with you and the safety that we feel with our man around. Right. I feel so safe with my man here. Like he's my biggest fan and also like my best friend.
Right.
So
what should women do if they feel that their cup isn't being filled, or they feel like there's tiny holes in their cup and the water's just leaking out? What's the fix when you're in a relationship?
You gotta, as a person, you gotta have the knowledge to pick up on these signs.
Yeah.
Like,
good point.
I don't know if, for me, like I said before, I spent a whole year, I didn't date anybody. I didn't have intimacy with anyone. I stayed celibate for a year after my last long relationship. And I learned through reading, through anxious attachment style books that I read, because I realized I was like anxiously attached, how to pick up on the yellow flags and not turn them green. This is a yellow flag, and not that it's a problem, but it might be a problem down the road. And 9 times out of 10, what we feel like maybe an issue in the beginning tends to be something that was an actual bigger problem. So the whole, what do? You got to be able to figure out that there's holes in your cup. And that might take you, it shouldn't take you more than 100 days to figure out if someone is putting holes in your cup or if they are like filling up your cup.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how has running your own business changed your dating standards?
Oh man, so much. I work so hard at my job and I bust my butt every day of the week that if I don't meet someone I feel like is like respects my hustle, then I'm not into it. And I met guys who are like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's so cool. But do you respect what I'm doing? Right. Like, if I'm working 14-hour days, are you going to be someone that's like, oh, I haven't seen you like all day, but then I come home and I have like $3,000 that I just made,
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you didn't see me all day or even see me for like 2 days, but I came home with a bunch of money to help pay our bills so that we can do things for our family.
Right.
And also too, I take pride in knowing that if something were to happen to my partner, he got sick or whatever, my business could carry out our life without his income.
Right.
So I can hold down our family just like you can. And I want to be with someone who thinks that that's rad.
Yeah.
Love
that. So building a business can be inconsistent.
Yes.
Does that make your tolerance for inconsistency from your man go down?
Oh my God, yes. Yes. I actually do feel like now that I've been in business for a while that I don't like sugarcoat anything. So, but I do. So how you say stuff matters, right? Yeah. You don't need to be you can be direct, but also be kind, and you can tell someone like, I don't like XYZ because it makes me feel like XYZ, right? Mm-hmm. And put downs are something I try to stay away from, like being like, well, you're like this. Like, that's not how you effectively communicate with somebody. No. And because my business is so up and down, when clients, for example, will be like, hey, we're going to use a different groomer. That's happened to me many, many times. Me being like, thank you so much for for picking me as your groomer. I'll miss you. Come back and see me if anything changes. Like, that leaves the door open in a healthy, professional way for people to feel like they're welcome to come back. Yeah. And I do that also with my relationships. Like, if things are not working out, I'm going to pinpoint all the things that I feel like are not effective for you and I, and why they're not effective for us. Right. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you're broken. Yeah. It just means that we do not effectively work well together, and we cannot manifest a relationship or grow as a team. And that is something I feel like a lot of people are afraid to do because they don't want to be alone. Yeah. That is the number one thing, right? Like, being alone. I love being alone.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And
I love it.
That's important though. That protects you in a way, because I feel like a lot of people jump into relationships that they know aren't great, but they'd rather be in a bad relationship as opposed to being alone. That's not healthy.
No. And I always tell people, like, I had a almost 5-year relationship like a year and some change ago. And it would have been so much easier for me to go from him and just to jump into someone right away. And although like I did, here and there dating, I was so glad that I took time to just be by myself and grieve that relationship and to be sad about it. And to also realize like, this wasn't good and this wasn't good. And how did I make things bad in the relationship? Like, what did I do to like make it not succeed? Because I could point my fingers at my partner all day long, but I contributed to that. And how do I recognize what that is and change it? So when people say people don't change, that's true. People don't change, because to change is to know and is to activate what you know the change should be, and then you need to do it. And it needs to become something that you do every single day so that you become a different person, and therefore you attract different.
What you just said is gold. I mean, I love that. And a big part of relationships is being able to self-analyze and not always point the finger. Yeah. What you just said, I feel like not enough people recognize that. Yeah. And recognizing it is one thing. Actually executing it is a whole nother thing.
Because it's painful and it's lonely. And I will vouch to anyone going through heartbreak or going through a loss of a partner, or choosing yourself. It is painful to like let go of that. But I swear that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and things do get easier. And then you will start meeting other guys or women, and you'll be like, oh, you know what? This person is so awesome. Like this last guy I was seeing, so great. Such a great guy. Like super cool, like motivated, whatever. But we weren't on the same page on a couple things. Right. And those were actually deal breakers for me. Yeah. And how I knew they were deal breakers is because when I was by myself, I had a list of all the things I knew I wasn't going to accept, because it wasn't part of my equation for a happy life. Right. But for someone else. And I heard a quote one time on TikTok. I said, this little woman was like, you won't find better than me, but you might find better for you. Yeah. And that is something I truly feel like I don't think there's any better than me. I think that I'm the best that anyone could ever get. Right. But I feel like you'll find better for you if I'm not the one.
No, understood. Okay. So is it harder to date when you're used to solving your own problems?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like men like to solve women's problems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want to be your knight in shining armor.
That's for right. Sure. So if like, babe, like I have a problem. I actually I have played like damsel in distress, like where I've already solved my problem, but I want my man to feel like he's the one that helped me solve my problem. And like, I want to boost up his ego. So he feels like, my girl, she, like she listened to me and she's doing great because I fed her this stuff. And I'm super big on that. Like,
I love that. You may have the answer.
yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But let your man do it.
Let my man do it. And also too, I want him to feel like he's taking care of me and he's the leader in our home.
Yes.
He's the one that leads our home. He's the one that leads our family. And we look up to him as the hierarchy of the household.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So in order for the man to be the leader of your house, you got to respect him, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the major things that you have to respect in a man? We know aspiration is one. Can you give a couple more things that you look for as far as what drives your respect in a potential partner?
Good character. You're good character. I've met plenty of men that I'm like, oh, on the surface, you're cool, but your character, like, what would you do in a tough situation? Are you for the greater good or are you selfish?
Right.
Selfish is not something I'm about. I don't know how anyone could really have a healthy relationship and be selfish.
Right.
Because it's not all about you.
It's not about you. Yeah.
So, and there are some entrepreneur men and women that I meet that are better alone because they are so selfish and they're so successful.
Yeah.
They're rich, they have a bunch of money, but to have a partner, right? There's not enough room for anyone else.
Yeah.
There's no room for anyone else but them.
Yeah. So we were talking about this before we started filming.
Yeah.
What is something that you wish men understood better about a woman like you?
That you need to make space, for a woman like me, right? I can bring so much to the table for a man in making a house a home, right? And bringing you, comfort, but also knowing that someone genuinely likes you for who you are and everything that you're not, right? And everything that you want to be, I back you on that.
Right.
And I'm here to be your 100% support fan. And when you're not in a room with me, know that I speak so good of you.
Right.
Like behind closed doors when you're not with me, just know that what comes out of my mouth about you is always 1000% like genuine and love for you.
Right.
And I think men need to realize that that's the kind of woman that you need to pick is like, oh, bro, like if she's not with me, I know she's like talking me up,
Yeah.
And that's something I feel like when you get me, you get that from me.
Love that. What are some of the other things that are kind of like automatic deal breakers for you? I know that men can have strong relationships, maybe with like a pet.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Can you just touch on things that are just an automatic deal breaker that you're not dealing with anymore?
So I just recently learned, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but this is just something I've learned, and I've been talking to some of my girlfriends about it. We as a collective have noticed that men that share very strong connections with their pets, and I own a business, right, with pets, so I love animals. It has nothing to do with my relationship with animals, but men that I've met that have been through like divorce or really bad breakup, and they cling to their pet as like an emotional support dog, which is fine. But I've noticed, not just with me, but with other women, that when we date men like this, they have kind, super sweet hearts and like bless their souls.
Right.
But there's no room for us. There are no room for us in a man's world that has a pet that is like, but, and I had one guy who was like, my dog is more than a dog. And I said, no,
your dog's more than a dog?
He was like, my dog is more than a dog to me. And I'm like, and that's great. I'm glad that you love your dog.
Right.
Dogs are family. My pets are kids too, right? That's my whole spiel. But when you're getting to know someone, right, and a relationship hasn't been established yet, closeness has not been established yet, and you're getting to know each other, having a pet that you've had with you through hard times is amazing. But there's a time and a place for that. And I've noticed, not just with me, with other women, will date men who are so close to their pets. So for example, let's just say like I was seeing someone and I wanted him to like stay the night with me, right? It was such a challenge to get this man to like want to stay the night with me because he made up all the excuses in the world on why he had to go home because of his pet. Right. And you guys, I have 3 dogs. Okay.
This is alarming.
Yes. And I'm not kidding you. It's actually something that's not just me. I've talked to plenty of girls that have had this situation where their partners' animals come before their needs. Right. And I'm all about pets, our family. We're going to take care of our pets. We're going to love on our pets and we're going to make sure they have the best life ever. But when it comes to like us sharing intimacy moments, like I don't want the pet around for those moments.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
I feel like that
staring
shouldn't
at
be
me.
a crazy ask. That's too much to ask.
Yeah. And I told you earlier, like, for example, I had asked someone I was seeing for a little while, like, if we could spend a couple nights when I stayed the night over with their dog, sleeping in their dog bed, like on the floor next to his side of the bed. And he was like, no.
Wow. Whoa.
He told me, no, it's never going to happen. And I said, well, you don't want to feel close to me. And he's like, I think we're close enough. I was like, okay, so you don't want to hold me at night? And I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would look over at him and he was just like spooning his dog. But he would never spoon me. And I was just like, and I thought to myself, I was like, so even if I lay here butt naked, you're still going to spoon your dog instead of me? And he said, yes.
Well, guys, I hope you're listening.
I was like, okay.
So
what the heck?
So Blue, what's the fix to women that may have this problem? What's the fix?
Well, those men aren't ready. They're not ready.
Yeah.
They might not ever be ready. They have made their choice and it's not negative, right? I don't want anyone man that's like, is this way to feel like, oh, she's a freaking whatever. Yeah. It's just you're dating your dog. You know, the dog is number one. That's your partner in life.
Right.
And that's like, and there is no room for any kind of intimacy, connection with another person.
Right.
And I do believe that men, and maybe women do this too, use animals, for an example, as a barrier. And you don't realize that you're doing it, but it's an emotional barrier. And a lot of people have these emotional barriers up and they'll tell you like, yeah, I like you. Like I'm ready for a relationship. I love that you're an entrepreneur. You motivate me. But then when you're spending time with them, you're noticing like, but you're capping us off at 60% right now.
Yeah.
But then you'll ask me for like, for example, you'll be like, oh, my love language is this, and I like want you to wear lingerie and all this other stuff, right? So intimately speaking, right? We'll give you intimacy and we'll be submissive for you and we'll give you that, right? But then I'm not getting my cup filled. Yeah. And my cup filled is probably going to be like, can you cuddle with me?
Yeah.
And I can't cuddle with you if your dog is in between us. If your dog, you know what I mean? So then we go into the whole like, I know.
Hey, no, the dog being in bed with y'all is crazy.
I know. And so then we'll go into this whole thing of, we won't realize it till you know the signs, or like I said earlier, to pick up on the signs. And I noticed that I was leaving my dogs that need me, because I live across town. And I was driving to his house like 45 minutes out of the way. And I'm leaving my dogs for the weekends. I'm like having my friend take care of them. Yeah. And then I'm coming out to see you, and your dog is always like up underneath me, up underneath us, and I can't get close to you, but I have now sacrificed gas. I paid for a dog sitter, and I'm emotionally like pouring into your cup, and then I'm having intimacy with you, and then all I want from you, and women will want less than what you want. You know, we just want like connection, and you won't give me that. And you'll be like, oh, well, I cooked dinner for you, and I'm here for you, and whatever. And then you're like, yeah, but what I want from you is this emotional connection, and I can't get it because the dog is the dog is who you're giving it to. Yeah. So.
Wow.
So
that's deep, but I think that's why I wanted to have you on. I feel like conversations like this need to be had.
Yeah. Well, people aren't always ready. And honestly, I'm just going to tell people, like, when you meet someone that was divorced or had a long-term relationship, I'm going to be so blunt with this. Let's just say someone was with someone, like my last person we were together like almost for 5 years, like 4.5 years. I took a whole year off of dating and a whole year off of having sex. Yeah. Like the whole year. And I saw my ex go to the next girl and to the next girl and then finally get in a relationship with someone else. And I thought to myself, like, how do you just roll over and have a connection and like start a whole new relationship? Right. And now I'm noticing from my end, men will do that and women will do that, but they won't realize that you actually have never healed from the last person that you're with, right? And you don't got to heal all the way, but you're not healed enough to emotionally give somebody what they're worth. And that's how toxic relationships develop. Yeah. Unintentionally. Right. And you're just like, oh, and I saw on People magazine, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Gigi Hadid and the man that she had a child with, I forget his name's like Zach or something like that. He did an interview on Call Her Daddy, I think it was. And he told her that as much as he has love for Gina's a beautiful model, right? And they had a kid together, he doesn't think he was ever in love with her. But then we look at all of these photos of them together and you're just like, really, you weren't? Looked like it, but he really felt that he wasn't. And it's like, oh, so you spent all this time with me and then and she's a model. She's an entrepreneur. She's famous, lots of money. And you're lucky to have been by her and you have a kid with her. And you're going to say you weren't in love with her? What? So those are the things that I think are the scariest parts about being successful as a woman, knowing you have your own and hoping that you meet someone that's going to match your energy, but they also have their own issues going on and can't appreciate a woman in her power.
Right, that's deep. And I mean, you can only control what you can control. I mean,
you can, but sometimes it takes you, like I always tell people, like, I don't want it to take me a year or two to figure out that you're not my person. I'm determined to figure this out in less than 100 days. If you and I are like a good vibe or not.
Okay. Another important question for you. Do you think women base too much of their self-worth on their relationship status?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I did that for a long time, right? That's conditioning over time, right? Where you and also too, I think it's like women will want a man to validate us, just like vice versa, but you gotta validate yourself. Like validate yourself. Like I am not here for like your comfort. I'm here for like a partnership, and lowering like who you are to fit their mold is just going to hurt you in the long run.
Absolutely.
And then you're not going to ever be the best. And then it like ends up being this whole thing where like you've missed out and time goes by so fast, right? And you're like, wow, it's been 2 years and I'm in the same exact position I was in 2 years ago. And you and I aren't even in a better place. Right. So you can't. And I do believe that humans are afraid to tell their other person what they want because they don't want to be alone.
Can being single for a woman take an emotional toll? And if so, how do women help validate themselves so that being single isn't seen as like a bad thing?
Create the life you want, like find things to do. Like men are great. Love men. They're awesome. But even Cher said, like, you don't really need them. You don't really need them to like survive. It's an add-on. It's an addition. Men bring a beautiful addition to our lives, right? As a woman does to a man's is a beautiful, like I always feel like when a man walks into a room, other men judge him by how beautiful his woman is or isn't. And the respect comes from how pretty your partner is or how well she makes you look. Because a woman will come with you somewhere and you'll get respect. You're like, oh, that's your girl. Like, oh, wow. And then she'll talk you up and she'll make your life easier because, you're her man. So I don't know. I would hope that a woman would feel validated in knowing that her presence alone moves mountains. Like your presence when you walk into a room, when people look at you, and your energy when you bring it forward should be like, wow, that girl is just like something about her, know? And she just brights up this whole, that's really the most important thing. And then when you know you're that person, it doesn't matter if you have anybody on your arm. You can you have your life, you have your yoga classes, your animals, you travel, you have your friendships in different places in the world. Like you do things, you fill your own cup. And that way, when someone else comes around, you're like, my life is already great. What cherry are you about to put on top of this, cake for it to be like even better than what it was? Because it's pretty good right now.
Yeah, for sure. When you get into a relationship, your partner has to be a net positive to what you already have created for yourself.
Yeah. And also to teach, right? Like partners are great teachers, right? I love a man that can teach me. I love to be taught stuff. And I've even known things and still let the man teach me. I'm like, I don't know how this works. And then do it for me. I love a man that wants to teach me stuff.
Listen, that's a big point. To all the women watching, if you have a guy you want to boost his ego, let him teach you, let him fix your problems. I mean, you have nailed that. That's a great way. I don't want to speak for other men, but I do think that that's a great way to kind of boost his ego and give him confidence.
Oh, yeah.
What advice would you give to women who feel like they have to choose between success and love?
You shouldn't have to choose, but I would say you just choose yourself. love would never make you choose
Right.
real love anyway.
Right.
And so if you felt like you had to choose, then you don't have real love.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that goes on what you just said as well. Like if you focus on being the best version of yourself, when you can move mountains just by yourself, you're not going to even get into anything without it being a net positive in your overall life. And I think that's really where success and love can find each other, right? Because you have your own success, you have your self-love already, so that when you do get into a relationship, if it's not making your life better, then you're going to get out because you know that you have a sustainable foundation that you've already built by yourself. So you don't ever feel like you're in a position where, I need a relationship. I need a partner. It's like, for what? If you're able to build your own life, single, alone, whatever you want to call it, but like being single and being alone are like derogatory terms, I feel like nowadays, right? Which is crazy. Like you have to find comfort and safety in what you can build yourself. And then that gives you leverage when you go into relationships to make sure that it's mutually beneficial for both parties, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the mutually beneficial part is the most important thing. I do believe, though, that it's a choice, right? You got to choose your person every single day, right? And you got to choose to want your relationship to go in a certain direction. I feel like the moment you become complacent, then you're not only for yourself, but for your relationship will just completely, you'll revert to, where you were at 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a forward-moving game in all senses of the word. And if someone wants to hop on the train, you reach out your hand, you say, come with me, like grab my hand, come with me and hop on this train with me and let's go on an adventure. And the person's like, I trust you.
Right.
I trust you. Trust is really the center of all of it. I could never close my eyes. I would close my eyes and jump off a cliff with a man that I trusted.
Right.
If he's like, we'll survive this, trust me, and if I really believed it and I really knew that we're always good, I'm going to close my eyes and hold your hand and jump off.
Right. Yeah. That's deep right there. That's deep. Okay. Last question, just for all the men watching. Okay. So I want to make sure men understand the advice or the pointers, the things that it takes to be with a woman like you. We understand you need to be aspirational. We understand that you need to make space for your woman. If you need to move your animal out of the way, then do that. Okay? Is there anything else that you would like to tell the men out there that would want to be in a relationship with a woman like you? What should these men be doing?
Be fun. Be fun. Bring fun to the table. Bring creativeness. Bring spontaneousness. Be unpredictable in the best way. Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll say this, I would love to be with someone who will take me to go listen to live music and will dance with me. That is romantic to me. And it's like a closeness thing that has nothing to do with sex or at home. It's just a cool bonding moment. Women like me or me, I love closeness and knowing me so well. I love art. Putting me in a position where that I'm going to love doing this with you is going to make me fall in love with you.
Yeah.
And then I feel like this person really knows what makes me tick.
Yeah.
And having someone that knows you so well and puts all the effort into getting to know you, especially if you don't like the things that I like.
Right.
That is so hot. When a man's like, I really hate this.
But I'll do it for you.
Yes. And you're just like, my man is so awesome. He doesn't like country music, but he's going to take me to freaking Stoney's and we're going to go line dancing. And I know this man does not like this, but he's doing it because he wants me to be happy and he loves to see me happy. Yeah. That to me is how you get a girl like me. Selfless love.
Guys, I hope you're taking notes. Guys, I hope
you'll be happy when we get home. I'll make it up to you.
What more could you ask for, right? So guys, hey, pay attention. Okay. You fall in love by creating special experiences. And I think that if your girl, which is another point here, make it clear to your girl that you don't like certain things, if that's the case. But if you still do it for her, you'll ultimately be rewarded when you go back home. So I think that's great advice. Before we get out of here, if you need mobile pet grooming, how do people reach out to you, Blu?
You can find me on Instagram, Pets Are Kids Too, and just send me a DM. I do have my mobile number on the bio.
Yeah.
So you can also just shoot me a text.
Okay.
And I'll get you hooked up.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you. This is the second time you're on.
Yeah, this is so much fun.
I appreciate you coming
Thank you for having
on.
me.
You always have a chair here if you ever want to be a guest on this show. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the support. My business.
I support you. You're awesome.
Yeah, man. I definitely appreciate that. I'll be forever grateful to you. So
yes.
Elite Level Status Podcast. See y'all next time.